In today's video, we're going to have a look at Premier African Minerals. The stock has really performed quite well as of recent. Been sharing my thoughts in some of the Discord groups and the Facebook groups, just saying, George Roche has really been delivering. So let's have a look at sort of the milestones that are to come and how that may affect the share price. What's the crack, everyone? Welcome back to Buy or Sell. Hope, of course, you are all well. Anyone new to the channel, my name's Damien, and what we cover is lithium plays, green plays, stocks for the future, sustainability. That's the kind of thing that this channel is all about. And if you're interested in these types of stocks, you might as well hit subscribe and help a brother out, because it's really, really hard right now in the YouTube game because most people are all sad because there's a bear market, okay? So Premier African Minerals has been outperforming the market, in my opinion. As you can see here, it is up over 28% on the year, which is really, really good. And if you even strip it back even the last 6 months, which is mostly where the pains came with your growth stocks, your big stocks, everything's back massively. You think about it, some of the big boys, they're all massively down, but not Premier African Minerals. It is currently over 55% up. So you're getting great gains on Premier African Minerals, but Premier African Minerals unfortunately is down almost 18% on the month. And I think that purely comes down to, well, obviously the current situation with Ukraine, the wars, the inflation risks, the pound being nearly as weak as it's been in a long, long time. All these things are playing massively into Premier African Minerals, but you also have a lot of cases of buy the rumor, sell the story. I think there's been some great progress news that we've been kind of waiting on for Premier African Minerals, and perhaps a bit of the froths came off the top, but there's plenty still to come in the pipeline, and that's what this video is all about today. First off, I want to point out Gandalf stock of power. This is a guy that I've been following on Twitter. We've had a bit of dialogue over the last sort of month. I've only getting around to doing this video now because I've sort of had to do a bit of fact checking on his stuff before I put anything out on my channel. So there's a lot of this that I've checked out and I believe that he is accurate in, and he's made his own assumptions, and I don't see any reason why his assumptions aren't correct. So just want to make that clear. This is not completely my thoughts. I have checked them and I stand by them, but these are not completely, and this report is, not, I can't take full credit for it. It has been compiled by them. Now, they wish to remain anonymous, but he said I'm okay to share their Twitter page. I said it could be a female, don't want to give anything away, but it is a 50-50 chance. Well, is it 50-50? They're a person, they're a human being. By the way, go on and give it the guy a follow. He puts a lot of effort in to keep us all updated. So in the last video, we talked about the pre-agreement deal, 35 million, huge deal. It was coming, we got it, brilliant news. And I'll share the link to that video on the 24th. That'll bring you right up to date. I always do my videos kind of in order. So we're not really gonna talk too much about that. That has happened, that agreement's in place. What we will talk about just at a high level here is this will be financed through non-dilution, which is key. That's the terrifying thing, especially in the AIM market with low liquidity and small market caps. You just wonder, well, how are they going to be able to fund this? So that was a major concern for myself and most shareholders, and it's the same with other stocks that we have. It's something that it is sometimes necessary, but it's not what you want to hear because it just hurts you in the short term. And there was even a recent tweet from George Roche himself that said he was in discussions with like 11 different people, all negotiating to try and get this lithium resource. It is hot, and we have also had recently some of the African governments easing things, Mali governments of these things. So there's just a sense that it's open for business, and that's what's happening here. And you're getting all these Chinese companies coming in and just snapping up everything because they know that this is going to be the future. And we've seen some huge deals go through with other companies. Production's to be as early as Q1 2023, so as little as 6 months from now, which is just incredible to think that this company that we started investing in almost 2 years ago, how quick and how fast this has all just happened. This is a 2030 play. My first videos was going, this is the future. We're looking at EV plays and we're looking at batteries and we're going, well, let's bring it right down to the source of it all, and that's where lithium has came in. And it's just incredible to think that this company is going to be going and start producing within 6 months. He's also linked us to this tweet that came out, and again, I'll give credit to where credit's due. Darf stock. One thing I will say is he still thinks here, as you see, still think this week will be massive. Do your own research as always. But unfortunately he was wrong. It wasn't. We haven't really done any movement, which is surprising because there's been so much moving parts. But I think it's more of a case of, I think Prem, like the rest of the market, will probably be massively down. So although it's maybe not doing a lot going up and you're going, why is this not going to the moon? It's not really massively pulled back. And as I said, if you look at it in the 6 months, up over 50%, there's no stocks, in my opinion, that's really outperformed that. Soho have 3 billion shareholding in Prem, exclusive offtake rights of 50%. Spodumene produced the Zulu, an offtake directly linked to them retaining their 13.38%. Production of 5 tons per hour, and what it says here is equates to roughly 4,000 tons of spodumene in a month. Potential revenue of 20 million a month, 4,000 tons times 5,000. Potential revenues of 240 million per annum, 4,000 tons time 5,000. And I'm okay with those assumptions because factually it is correct. It is a 5,000 ton, so I have no issues with that. However, I would, a bit like Coral Minerals, I would err more on the side of caution. Everything's massively inflated. Do I see a demand? Do I see it just continuing to rise? Absolutely. Does that mean the price could continue to go up? Absolutely. But I wouldn't be basing your facts and figures on the price right now because there is so many factors playing into it with inflation and stuff. You know, there's no reason why this couldn't easily pull back 10-20% on the share price, still going to make it around 4,000 a ton. So I would maybe even be more reserved and run with a price of that figure, which puts us more in around the region of about 192. So say 200 million is kind of where I'd put it, but that's me being reserved. I always try to look at it worst case scenario, and do I foresee a 20% pullback? Potentially, absolutely. Why not? Everything else is going to maybe pull back eventually. Is it within this year? Is it the next 24 months? I don't know. I don't have the answers, unfortunately, but let's just always be reserved in our thinking. This is my thoughts. And at the end of the day, I look at it as if there is, say, a 20% pullback, who's to say that in a year's time it's not a 6,000 and that pullback might bring us back to 5,000 anyway? So it's all anyone's guess. And what I'm trying to just say is here, my opinions is different from this guy's opinions, and this guy's opinions is going to be different from somebody else's. So always do your own due diligence. And if we go on the Premier African Minerals Twitter page, we can see the guys are on site. There is a great stock box interview. I recommend anyone that's interested in PREM to watch that video. We've got some more results coming out. George, CEO's been commenting, and what I like about it is being very, very active. You can sense the excitement within the camp. You can see roads being dug. This plant is happening. It is coming. And we talked about potentially the risk of them maybe not being able to deliver this and the repercussions that can happen. I don't really see that as a risk anymore because they look to be so rampant and up in the game here with side pictures and just things happening. So the definitive feasibility study is the next thing. We've covered it on the channel. This was coming as well, and you can see here it's expected to be completed in around Q3 2023. So we've just entered that period. It could be within the next 3 months, and even looking at George Roach's recent comments would suggest that that's going to come very, very soon. This should give the share price a bit of a G up. The only thing I will say is, again, speaking from experience with Coral Minerals, we've seen these kind of assumptions that you think, well, if it says it's worth £1 previously, now it's worth 10, you would imagine, oh, that'll just shoot the share price up. Well, if everyone can kind of work out these sums, it could be baking that in. And again, I don't want to play devil's advocate. I would still be on the side of it should shoot the price up, especially now with all that's in place. Coral Minerals, as much as I love Coral, they've done that study. They've said, well, this is what we've got. Well, that's all well and good, but what's the plan to get to that stage? It's just numbers at this stage, where PREM are a bit different. They've actually gone, well, here's the DFS. We've got this potential. This is how much it will be worth. And we're actually literally laying the roads to get this up and running, as you can see with our pilot plant. And it'll detail the expected costs of the mine, the revenues of the mine, all of these things. So it just really paints a brilliant picture for us. Which leads me to this. In London on the 11th of July, so next Monday at 6 p.m, we were able to attend. It's going to be a Q&A. And George is going to be doing a live video where he'll answer all the most popular questions. He's going to obviously be getting us all fired up about it and get us all excited. And he's obviously in a position where he wants to talk and engage with shareholders to answer a lot of questions. He's obviously feeling quite confident in what he has done and what the company's about to do, which is also what I really like to see. But there could definitely be some great update that comes from that. So that's only a week away. So there's plenty of things happening with PREM. We also have a resource upgrade statement coming. No time scales of when that will land, so we'll just put that in the back burner, but we do know that that is also coming. So we'll see what scales get hit first, and then we'll hopefully have a bit more update on that, perhaps at this meeting. And he talks about the exclusive prospecting order, which we covered in other videos, so I'm not going to repeat that. That's all been done and dusted. Share price targets with a combination of all the news flow, we could see 1 to 2p this year is what he reckons. Once producing the earnings revenues, the share price would be expected to increase beyond those levels. We're not in for a slice of bread, we're in for the whole loaf. That's saying. So I'm kind of like, well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. This is always a 20-30 play. I'll do what I've done before. I'll take some froth off as and when I feel the time is right. But just like Aerosmith said, I don't want to miss a thing with this, so I am staying put. For those that are interested in the final results, that came out on the 30th of June. Go in, read the whole RNS. It is one hell of a long read, but it really is just been such a crazy year, so much happening that they've covered everything, talking about the shares, the dilution, and actually when you read through it, it just shows you the steps, and I kind of go, oh God, remember when they did that? No, it's just been a crazy year. So look, that's Premier African Minerals. I just wanted to do like pretty much a very high level roundup. I thought that PDF was of interest to people, just to really summarize where everything goes, because if you're like me, perhaps the whole lithium mining extraction process and what all that means and terminology can be quite overwhelming at times, but really you just have to remember, and this is the reason why I got into it, you just have to remember that this is the source that creates the batteries for your solar panels, that create the batteries for your EV cars, everything electric, all batteries across the world. This is the source, this is the new gold in my opinion. So you think about it in that way, And if you can understand the good companies that are out there and the ones that are doing what they say they're going to do. Premier African Minerals, when I first started, people were a bit skeptical, and there was a lot of FUD, and there's a FUD around every stock, and you have to do a lot of due diligence. And in my experience, what helps is getting in the Facebook groups, chatting to people in Discords, Telegrams, getting an understanding, and doing your own due diligence. And I can't repeat that enough. Do your own due diligence on the back of that. Check, is the factual stuff that they're saying correct? Does it stack up? Is it smoke and mirrors? Never trust me, never trust anyone on Twitter, never trust anybody at all. Always do your own due diligence. But if the company's delivering on what they're saying, if you go back a few years and read what they said they were going to do, and if they can deliver on that, then the company's going in the right direction, and you've no reason to not believe them. So that's the way I try to approach it at a simple level. And yeah, just smash like and subscribe if you're interested in more of these videos. Like I said, I am not a lithium miner expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know how to have a good look at charts, and I do understand how a company says what they're going to do, whatever that could be. Anything. We're going to paint the building this year. If they don't do that, they're not delivering. If they're going to be doing lithium mining, if they say they're going to do it, and they're going to have a structure and a plan, looking at investments, looking at buyers, looking at setting up a plant, if they're doing all those things at a high level, you don't really need to know too much about how the cake's made. You just need to know how they delivered that cake, if that makes sense. So that's the video anyway. I hope you have found it informative. If you're interested in checking out all my sort of lithium plays, I've got an actually playlist here. It just covers all CODAL and PREM videos, and there's some other ones in there as well. Like I said, this channel is all about going green. If that's something you're interested in, please do like and subscribe. Get into the Discord if you wish, and the trading course is all there. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.